The next game we're looking at for the Genesis and the other launch title that came out for the Genesis was, of course, what a shock, Sonic the Hedgehog. Still a really fun game. I mean, it's the worst of the three when it came out for the Genesis, but you know, that's to be expected. It's still a good game. Obviously, you just know it got improved later on. What's really good about the game was it just the level design was great, the music was great. I loved the bonus stage. It was really cool, very trippy. Um, I think personally this is a good opportunity for all these new age fanboys who play all these mediocre platformers that they play on the GameCube and, you know, the guns and so bad. Just let's not even go there. I think this is a good chance for them to try what brought them here and what's actually good, which is what the game was supposed to always be about: speed and Sonic. No extra characters, nice little grabbing things, none of this bullshit. It's just Sonic dashing through levels. It's all it's ever supposed to be, but I'm ranting again. We're not gonna go on a 3D Sonic rant anymore. We're gonna come back. But I liked it, I bought it, and I enjoyed it. And if you like Sonic games, you never played one of the older Sonic games, or you just missed Sonic the Hedgehog 1, it's a good game. It's worth 800 points if you buy it. You won't feel ripped off. Basically, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is out, and then it's just a choice of preference, really, if you want either one. More likely than not, if you're a Sonic fan or you just like Sega games, then you're probably going to be getting both. But more likely than not, if you're going to buy one, I'd still think Sonic 2 is a little bit better, but really, you're probably going to buy both. So, overall, yeah, get Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a fun game still. Of the three launch TurboGrafx games, this is the best one I'll be reviewing. This is Bomberman 93. I figured mediocre multiplayer, really crappy single player, same as most of the earlier Bombermans. I was right half-wise. The single player still isn't any good. I don't think I've ever played, besides Saturn Bomberman, a good single player Bomberman campaign. Well, Bomberman Generations didn't have a bad one, but that's a totally different story. Multiplayer, on the other hand, I was surprised. Why? 5 players. I have no idea why the TurboGrafx actually supported a weird number like 5, but I wasn't about to argue, because I've had hours of me sitting around my television with friends playing Bomberman. It's so much fun. I mean, it's an obscure number to be sure, but actually it works out well usually. I usually end up having about 4 other people around, so that might just be my convenience. But anyways, the gist of this, what I'm saying is there's only been like 1 or 2 other really good Bombermans. That would be Saturn Bomberman, and I personally like Bomberman Generations that had a lot of good multiplayer, but that's hard to find now actually. But really, $6 for a really good multiplayer game is not asking a lot. This was one of the best launch games, and it still is one of the best games on the TurboGrafx thus far. I still think it's one of the best games on the Virtual Console. Sometimes talking gets on my nerves, and I start slurring everything. But whatever. Anyways, do I recommend this game? Yes. Should you buy this game? Yes. I don't think there's much else to say besides it's Bomberman, so I'm shocked, but the multiplayer is amazing in this game. I totally would recommend buying Bomberman. So Bonk's Adventure is one of the other 2 that have come out for the TurboGrafx at launch. This is one of the games I've been really looking forward to playing because I never played the Bonk series. I never had a TurboGrafx, obviously. I went in here thinking, I've heard a lot of good things. This is going to be a really good game. In fact, it's become such a popular Virtual Console game, it's gotten itself a sequel on the DS. So obviously it must be selling well. But I will say, it was a good game. And it was a decent challenge, but it's not as great as everyone makes it out to be. It is a fun platformer, don't get me wrong. I still agree to that. But it's not nearly as classic in times as people are saying. The controls are a little iffy for me, but that could be just me. But I thought it was fun, but it felt a little bit average to me. I mean, obviously, Bonk was kind of a cool character, but really it wasn't all that great as far as being a platformer was. I mean, the stages were kind of cool design. The music was, I liked the music personally, but the platforming itself just felt average. There wasn't a lot to it, really, was the thing. There wasn't nearly as cool as Sonic Speed or Mario's power-ups or anything like that. There wasn't that kind of thing. It was just kind of jumping type of stuff, like Adventure Island. But Adventure Island, I'll get to that another time, is actually a better game, but that's something completely different. It's another TurboGrafx game I'll get to later. It's a fun game. I do like Bonk, don't get me wrong. And if you've never played the Bonk game, it'd be kind of a cool trip. I thought it ended up being worth the 600 points, but it just depends. If you're not a big platformer fan, I just don't think you're going to get enough out of this to want it. But if you're a platformer fan, 600 points isn't a lot. It's a decent game, but I don't know. I'm very on the fence. I think I'm going to lean a little bit more towards buy it, 'cause I think it was a pretty decent platform and a lot of people have played it, but I would watch some videos first before you go getting any crazy ideas about buying it. So this is the final TurboGrafx game and the final launch game I'll be reviewing. It is Superstar Soldier for the TurboGrafx. This is the first shooter you're going to get. Vertical shooter, horizontal shooter, doesn't matter. There is a lot of these on the system. So I'm going to recommend you watch more reviews as they come in for all the different ones I'm going to review. This was one of the first games I bought. I bought all 4 TurboGrafx games when they came out. I don't play a lot of these type of games, so I got my ass kicked a lot. I'm not going to lie. These games get hard fast. But they're very fast, they're very frantic, they're very addictive too. There's so many different types of power-ups and different ways to mix them with other ways. It just gets crazy. Bullets go flying everywhere. It gets insane. These things pump out a lot of graphical power and putting so much stuff on the screen while running really well. They don't look graphically appealing by themselves, but start seeing all the stuff that goes over the screen and then you'll be impressed. The soundtrack, not very memorable. There are better soundtracks than other shooters I'll get on to later, but this shooter, as far as being the first one that came out, was a very good representation of what the shooters were like. And it's a good series. The Star Soldier series is a really good series that you'll see a lot of later on. There's a good chunk more on there. And this is going to be very similar to a few others. In fact, a lot of music and the text and other sound effects get reused in other shooters from the TurboGrafx. So you'll see a lot of this type of game on here later on. As far as it's concerned, if you like shooters, you want this game. If you've never played a shooter before, this has actually got a pretty nice learning curve into it. So actually, and there's a cool caravan mode where you can challenge your friends for high scores and whatnot. It's a pretty damn good representation of the shooter genre. It's a very good one for people who've never played them. It's a good game for veterans. It's a good game for the fans of it. It's a damn good TurboGrafx game. And again, this one, much more or less hesitantly, definitely would recommend it for 600 points. It's a good game. I like it. So, if you got the points and you like your TurboGrafx games, you like your shooters, or you just want to try something different, there's your game.